Your main event of the evening is scheduled for one fall, and it is for the Impact Wrestling X Division Championship.
The most prestigious championship to be defended in Turner's Hall in quite a number of years, dare I say decades, if ever. The X Division Championship dates back to 2002, AJ Styles, the inaugural champion. You can go through the years, Samoa Joe, Christopher Daniels, Austin Aries, and so many others have worn that championship. This man has not, but this man is the Fresh Prince of Midair, Trey Miguel. Over the past couple of months, we've seen Trey appear on Impact Wrestling. We've seen him attempt to get his foot in the door. A victory here tonight could pound that door completely off its hinges. A win here tonight could solidify Trey Miguel as not just a member of the Impact Wrestling roster, but a champion right off the bat. I stood in the ring in welterweight too, and I said Trey Miguel was the next Dayton talent to get a major contract. That's interesting. To get a major contract after OVE, Trey can live up to that reputation, live up to that prophecy here tonight.
One thing to say that you went in there with one of the best in the world. It's one thing to say that you went in there and you had a shot at a prestigious championship, but it is something entirely different to say that you went in there and won that championship. And as you said, he would kick down that door, but that door is the size of that man you see right there, Brian Cage.
They've said it so often for over a decade and a half. Impact Wrestling's X Division is not about weight limits. It's about no limits, and certainly very few summarize that mentality quite like Brian Cage. It was just 6 nights ago in Toronto, Ontario, Impact Slammiversary pay-per-view when Brian Cage defeated Matt Sydal for the X Division crown. A fighting champion, Trey Miguel wasted no time issuing a challenge. Cage did not hesitate to accept.
Introducing first is the challenger from Dayton, Ohio, weighing in at 162 pounds, the Fresh Prince of Midair, Trey Miguel. And his opponent from Chico, California, weighing in at 268 pounds, he is the Impact Wrestling X Division Champion, the Machine, Brian Cage.
If you listen to ring announcer Nick Lendl, you heard there is a 106-pound weight differential in this matchup. Trey Miguel has been plying his craft all across North America, United States, Canada, and Mexico, as you see the prize being hoisted by referee Joe McCoy. Trey has been all over the country, his first UK tour in a month, as Trey explodes with rapid-fire drop kicks. Trey knows he cannot match power for power with Cage. He will not quicken him. He will try to take the machine off his feet.
And that's the smart thing to do. Brian Cage obviously has the size and power advantage, as he would over most guys. Trey Miguel has to use that quickness. He's got to use that speed. He's got to chop down the big redwood if he wants a chance to walk away the champion.
Trey gets Cage to the outside, goes springboard drop kick, nicely done. Cage to the floor. Extra cameras on hand here to document this historic matchup. History could be made as Trey, able to catch himself on the ropes, but caught by the machine. Look out! Both go bomb into the ring post. And that is not a rounded post. There are steel edges that will dig into your spine.
And you got to hand it to Trey Miguel, taking it to Brian Cage early on. You know, the X Division Championship.
Oh, God! Miguel's body bounces across the ring frame. Metal meets wood. Hardest part of a wrestling ring.
You know, the X Division Championship, as I was saying, makes men's careers. You mentioned AJ Styles, where he went toe-to-toe with Jerry Lynn. and we can look back in the annals of history and see what that match meant for AJ Styles. In many ways, it put him on the map, and that is what Trey Miguel is focused on right now. But as I mentioned, he has a tall task ahead of him. Brian Cage, if you want to go back to the traditional story of pro wrestling, you have the lumbering big man against the guy trying to use his quickness. Brian Cage is not a lumbering big man. This guy can move like nobody that we possibly have ever seen at his size and build.
And case in point, how Cage effortlessly elevates himself over the top rope. You saw a moment ago the knife edge chop and the damage it did to Trey Miguel, and before Cage hoisted him back into the ring overhead, gets a count of 2. Trey Miguel has great resilience. Trey Miguel was victorious. He was the sole survivor, the last man standing, in the 4-way elimination match at Welterweight 3 over fellow rising stars, Myron Reed, Cole Radrick, and Ace Austin. Miguel wants this. Miguel was once blackballed from this building, but came out of the crowd to prove his passion and desire for this industry. Could it all pay off with the win of a lifetime tonight?
Well, it would certainly be an amazing story for Trey Miguel, from where he's come from to where he is now. And it would certainly vilify what you had said about him being to coin a phrase, to steal a phrase, the next big thing. But we got to focus on Brian Cage. Just won the title, you said 6 days ago. You don't want to be a champion that's remembered for not having a long title reign. You want to get some wins behind you. You want somebody to say, hey, that guy went out there, took on all competitors, and defeated. You don't want to say he's the guy that was a fluke champion because he lost it right away. So that is what Brian Cage is battling for right now.
Division championship been defended all over the world. Names from Kurt Angle to Abyss have worn that title over the years. Jay Lethal, Low-Key, Sanjay Dutt. Petey Williams, list a mile long as Trey lands on his feet. Could not be held down by the kick combo and striking combo of Cage as Trey Miguel comes back with a strike of his own.
But Brian Cage has not been knocked down. He's still on his feet.
Miguel needs all the heart. And he had, look out. Cage caught Miguel in midair. 2 count only. And again, Cage is able to adjust so easily, so seamlessly. All of Miguel's momentum was not enough to overpower Brian Cage.
Which is scary to think of the power that Brian Cage possesses. But Joe, let me ask the question to you. Do you think there's a way that Trey Miguel can pull Brian Cage off his game? Maybe get him a little frustrated. Maybe look for that little opportunity that he needs to hold his shoulders down for a 3 count.
It's so difficult. Meteor by Miguel got caught. I have not seen many men, at least in a conventional environment, be able to create much weakness on Cage. Miguel got the knees that time. And Trey has a similar style to Matt Sydal. Sydal could not figure Cage out Sunday on the pay-per-view or this past Thursday on Impact on Pop.
Well, the question then that I asked for Trey Miguel would be, did he notice something in that matchup? When he was doing his homework, when he was doing his scouting, did he maybe notice a weakness in Brian Cage, as hard as that is to believe, a weakness in Brian Cage's offense or his game plan that Trey Miguel could take advantage of?
Trey firing away. Cage is so impenetrable. His line of defense is just indomitable as Miguel trips Cage up, swings through with the legs. Miguel's got to be abusive yet elusive. Split-legged moonsault, got him. Could he duck the air out long enough? 2 count only.
And let's not state the obvious, but Trey Miguel was 1 second away from being the Impact Wrestling X Division champion.
That's huge. That changes the future of Impact Wrestling. That changes Trey's career. Trey's good friend Desmond Xavier is already part of the X Division. Dave and Jake Chris, Sammy Callahan, his mentors, are already there. Trey would love to join them. Trey's on the cusp. Man, this win could mean everything to him. Oh, what a stiff elbow. What a hard shot, but Trey back with a knee.
Well, this could be for the world. Oh, wow. Look at that power.
And Miguel springs off. Look at this. Could not take Cage off balance. Midstream adjustment. And Trey the takeover. With distance can come opportunity. Trey Miguel flies the tope and healer.
And right now, if Trey Miguel can keep this up, he can prove right what a lot of people have been saying. You listed the names, the OVEs. We talked about Desmond Xavier. A lot of people have been saying, hey, let's not sleep on Trey Miguel. Let's see what Trey Miguel does. Let's see his next big step, and we could be watching it right now.
Trey throws caution to the wind, and notice that Cage is prone. If this was in the ring at this point in time, Trey might be able to get a 3 count.
And where does that put Brian Cage in this matchup if he's not able to retain his title? Where does that put him in the pecking order in Impact Wrestling, in your opinion?
Well, there's certainly a sense of pride that goes into being a traveling champion. We've seen men do it for years. Standing shooting star by Miguel. Hooks the leg for 2. From men back in the day like Harley Race and Ric Flair to what a man like Austin Aries is doing now. There's a lot of pride with it, and you come back with that pride deflated. You come back maybe showing you're not as unstoppable as you thought you were. But certainly that's a tale you have to be told when it comes to Cage. Trey a step ahead. Up with the enziguri.
You can give it to Trey Miguel. He has had counters to some of Brian Cage's offense. And you'd have to think at some point, Brian Cage is going to have to hit that offense, or he could be looking at, as I mentioned earlier, a very short title reign.
Trey, Hurricane Rana. Oh, Cage just shut Trey Miguel down. Trey the Hurricane Rana! Able to snap it off, get the momentum on his side. No!
And I don't think Trey Miguel was able to distribute his weight evenly across Brian Cage, which might have aided in a little bit easier kick out for Brian Cage. That's keeping him alive at this point.
Keep in mind, too, a couple of months ago, Cage was traveling the world. Japan, Australia. Pretty much every country that has pro wrestling, Cage was in it, taking on the best of the best. And it was televised back on Impact Wrestling. Cage has tested himself against every size and style that you can name. Trey digging down deep. These round kicks. Connecting flush with the chest cavity. Oh, Cage ducks. A pump handle and Trey planted face first.
So that could be it.
And Brian Cage half a count away. You gotta wonder if Cage expected this type of fight from Miguel.
Well, when you're a traveling champion, you may not always have that time to game plan like your opponent. You know, we've mentioned earlier that Brian Cage has been all over the world. His schedule is insane. Trey Miguel the same as well, but Trey Miguel issued this challenge. Trey Miguel knew what he was going up against. I have to wonder if Brian Cage was able to do his proper due diligence in Trey Miguel.
Cage living up to his namesake as the Machine. Cage had no leverage. He had negative leverage, but snaps off the suplex effortlessly near fall. I mean, just try to pick up something that's relatively light, that's underneath your feet. Cage does it with a man 162 pounds.
Absolutely, absolutely. When you're on your feet, you don't have that, when you're off your feet, you don't have that base. You don't have that solid footing that you use to use your back, to use all your muscles to be able to lift somebody up. Now, we did see something that I mentioned earlier. We saw Brian Cage with a look of frustration and shock on his face. Normally there are two roads that can deviate from this. Is he going to take it out on Trey Miguel, or is he going to try and recover, maybe try and change his idea of, wow, he just said it was over.
Yeah, Cage talking a little trash there on Miguel, but Trey's kicking his legs, trying to get Cage off balance. Trey gets free. Caught Cage high. What is this? Springboard cutter connects. Trey on top. No! The twos get longer, and you can see the desperation on Trey Miguel's face. He could taste the most important win of his career.
Trey Miguel may have put the cart before the horse. He saw everything that he's been dreaming of, everything that everybody's been talking about, and the potential that everybody talks about with him. Whoa, wait a minute.
Well, Trey trying to elevate Cage. Cage is head and neck wedged in the corner. Oh, but Trey took too much time to get there. Cage was ready. Cage a twisted DDT. insane agility by Cage, and this may be Weapon X. You heard Cage call for it, and Trey got planted, and Brian Cage retains the X Division Championship.
Here is your winner and still the Impact Wrestling X Division Champion, Brian Cage.
Brian Cage celebrates a victory well earned. Cage didn't have to put the X Division title on the line. Trey was not a recognized top contender, but I think Trey Miguel proved on any given day he's right in that conversation. Trey could beat anybody in this business.
Come on, Cleveland. Trey Miguel and I just bust our ass and gave you a five-star match, and you didn't give us the Trey Miguel, you wanted an X Division title match. You got it. You said you had nothing to show for it. I joke around. I call this man Fake O'Shea. He looks a little reminiscent of somebody who went to NXT not too long ago. But in all seriousness, excellent job, my man. One of the only reasons I ever came out here or tonight or this promotion was to get to work with him one-on-one for the first time ever. Thank you.
Respect from these people.
Who better than Brian Cage, though?
Respect for each other and respect for the championship. Brian Cage retains the X Division title, but man, a hell of a performance by Trey Miguel. Brian Cage, still an unstoppable machine.